Yom HaShoah commemorates the genocide of 6 million Jews during the Second World War perpetrated by Germany's Nazi regime and is usually observed on the 27th of Nisan. As it falls on a Friday, this year we commemorate Yom HaShoah on Wednesday night and Thursday. 76 years on, it's still difficult to comprehend the atrocities that were perpetrated against the Jewish people. Many were sent to their deaths in gas chambers in Auschwitz. Many families were and still are directly impacted by the tragic death of their loved ones. In this week's Sedra, Parshas Shemini, we read about the aftermath of the tragic death of Nadav and Avihu, Aaron's two sons, after they offer an Eish Zarah of foreign fire that kills them. The Torah recounts Moshe's approach to Aaron to apparently comfort him. Vyom Moshe el Aaron, and Moshe said to Aaron, Hu asher diber Hashem lemar. This is what Hashem spoke about, saying, Bikrovai ekodesh. I will be sanctified through those who are close to me. And Aaron's response is recorded by two words, Vayidom Aaron. This is quite difficult to translate, and the following idea is based upon an idea that I read from Rabbi Ari Khan. And he brings a whole load of translations. For example, Rabbi Aryeh Kaplan in the Living Torah translates it as remain silent, whereas the ArtScroll says Aaron fell silent, and the Jerusalem Bible says Aaron held his peace. These translators are all showing that it's quite difficult to translate this exact phrase, and they echo different approaches found in ancient and medieval sources. The Ramban writes that Aaron had been crying loud, but upon hearing Moshe's comforting words, he became silent. According to this approach, Aaron may have well continued to mourn in his heart, but when he saw that Moshe attempted to console him, he realized that the right thing to do was to be silent, and the change was auditory and not emotional. The Sforno, on the other hand, stresses that Aaron's silence indicated an emotional change, and he was indeed comforted. Our Barbanel uses the word Vayidom Aaron by using the actual word domaim, a lifeless stone mineral material, inanimate object, that Aaron did not behave like a bereaved father. He was speechless like an inanimate object. Onkelos renders the term Vayidom as ushatik, and Aaron remained silent. But Rabbi Eliezer Lippman Lichtenstein, who passed away in 1877, the Shem Olam says, the Torah itself could have used the verb vayishtok, shin, sof, kuf, a synonym of silence, which signifies the abstention from weeping or speaking or moaning, just completely no sound. The verb domaim, however, connotes an inner peace and calm, emphasizing that Aaron's heart and soul were at peace with each other. However, there's an alternative translation that the Targum uses, and it's Ushavach Aaron, and Aaron praised. Rashi links the silence of Aaron with divine revelation, explaining that because Aaron remained silent, something that is very difficult to do, he was rewarded for his silence. Rashi says, Kibel sachar al shasikoso. He received a reward for his silence. Uma sachar kibel, and what was his merit that he received? Shenis yached imo hadibur. That Hashem spoke directly to him. The proof Rashi brings is the next section where the Torah speaks to Aaron alone in Vayikra Perek Yud Psukim Ches to Yud Aleph. Vayidaba Hashem el Aaron lemar. This is very unusual. Usually Hashem speaks to Moshe, and sometimes to Moshe and Aaron, but the next section about people who are intoxicated by wine is addressed only to Aaron. As a result of Aaron's silence, Hashem speaks directly to him. The Maharal explains this as midah keneged midah, measure for measure. He was silent, and therefore he created a space by which God could speak directly to him. Aaron witnessed the horrific death of his sons. Instead of rejecting Hashem, he accepts Hashem's decree by remaining silent. Rashi and Maharal see the silence is what elevated Aaron to the new spiritual level of achieving Ruach HaKodesh. Aaron was then able to hear the voice of Hashem, which is inaudible if there's external interference. In Menachem Aleph, Perek Yotes, we read, there was a great wind and mighty winds splitting mountains and shattering rocks by the power of Hashem, but Hashem was not in the wind. After the wind, an earthquake, but Hashem was not in the earthquake. And after the earthquake, fire, but Hashem was not in the fire. Va'achar ha'esh, and after the fire, kol damama daka. There was a small, still sound. Like Eliyahu Hanavi in the desert, Aaron understood that the word of Hashem is contained in silence, in solitude. There are times that words are limiting and superfluous. They create artificial barriers and prevent us from understanding Hashem. The only possible avenue to begin to understand Hashem is through silence. Aaron's heroic response to the tragedy, his ability to contain himself, transported him beyond the noisy physical plane. His silence allowed him to hear the words of Hashem. This week, as we light Yiska candles to commemorate the memory of all those who died in the Second World War and beyond, it's the strangest fire of all. 76 years on after the Holocaust, the loss is still inexplicable. There are no words. We do not have the answers, but together we will stand in silence, metaphorically standing together with everyone else around the world, standing now at a distance, of course, but in Yirtzeh Hashem soon side by side, till we are zocher, as we say before the bracha, before we say Shema, or Chodosh al Sion To'eh v'nisker kulanu mehera le'aro, that we should be meritorious to merit the eternal light that shall burn brightly over Zion. May we merit to see that light speedily in our days. I wish you all a good Shabbos.